When you think of titles like Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Avowed, and Starfield, it's hard not to be filled with levels of hype and expectation beyond anything any of these games would actually be capable of. With Starfield just months away before its full reveal, the anticipation and excitement you feel leading up to these announcements or to the release is fun. As I found myself more and more drifting into a state of anticipation, thinking of what Starfield can be, I realized it was time to take a step back. And I began thinking of how there's a multitude of ways the game could be ruined from reaching its full potential, despite being labeled by Bethesda themselves as
the biggest, most epic science fiction thing you could possibly imagine.
It's ambitious and insane and awesome in all of the best possible Bethesda Game Studios ways.
Today I wanted to discuss with all of you 5 things that could be harmful to Bethesda and Starfield, and potentially in some cases, ruin the game entirely. The destruction that can be caused by overhyping a title reached its arguable apex after the launch of Cyberpunk 2077, a title filled with so much promise and potential that upon release near unanimously failed to meet expectations. When Todd Howard talks about Bethesda's upcoming releases, whether it's comments like
16 times the detail
or "see that mountain, you can climb it," I rarely think that they're made out of malice, where the intention is to mislead consumers. Yet with Starfield, it's more important than ever to be clear and concise about what the game can or cannot do, mitigating the opportunity for gamers to call out cut content, which is normal for any part of game development, or to complain about missing features at launch. When we do finally get the full gameplay reveal of Starfield at E3, the gameplay should speak for itself. Bethesda's strategy of showcasing the full gameplay reveal only months before its official launch has worked well, generally speaking, for them in the past. It gives us an extensive look at the game, exactly how it should be when we finally get our hands on it ourselves. But please, Bethesda, when it comes to showing us Starfield for the first time, don't make promises you can't keep. RPGs are about combat, leveling up, getting new gear, of course, but they're also largely about dialogue and the choices that you can make through it. Dialogue and NPC interactions are the opportunities where you really get to flesh out your character and what type of hero or anti-hero they are. It's the actual role-playing part of an RPG. Seeing as how Bethesda is trying to incorporate more hardcore RPG mechanics, it would be refreshing to see more conflicts in the game able to be resolved through clever responses rather than just looking down the barrel of a gun. There's an odd sense of satisfaction when you as a player can find opportunities that make you feel as though you've cheated the game or you've outwitted it, completing quests out of order, for example, leading to new dialogue choices or even a new ending you never knew about. But beyond just persuasion checks, what happens when things do turn south? Will players have the option to non-lethally take down threats? Or will NPCs actually yield this time versus, say, in Skyrim, where NPCs fall to their knees, scream, "I yield!" and then once they regenerate enough health, come back after you anyway. While it's obvious we will get our fair share of shooting extraterrestrial threats on alien worlds when it comes to Starfield, I'm looking forward to the opportunity that most scenarios don't have to involve becoming some kind of sci-fi shootout. I understand why Bethesda utilized a voice protagonist in Fallout 4. Bethesda had hoped to create a more nuanced, a more emotional story, and with modern gaming, having a voice actor to portray that has become an increased standard. And while voice actors in Fallout 4 did an incredible job, it did take away from one of the more important and beloved elements of Bethesda games. The dialogue options present in other Bethesda titles allows players to become who they want by expressing themselves with more than just a dialogue wheel of 4 choices. Witty and creative dialogue options allow players to embody the characters that they're playing, be it a bounty hunter, a vigilante, a true hero of the people, or a force of chaos. There's a reason why some of the best RPGs of all time, like Skyrim, Divinity Original Sin 2, Dragon Age Origins, Disco Elysium, among many others, these titles were all able to tell incredible stories with great role-playing experiences, and they all had the common factor of a silent protagonist. Todd Howard's own response to the voice protagonist in Fallout 4 proves there's a massive demand from Bethesda fans to return to the non-voiced player character.
Obviously, the way we did some dialogue stuff, that didn't work as well, but it was, I think, You know, I know the reasons we tried that to make a nice interactive conversation, but less successful than other things in the game. And so,
especially when Todd Howard comments about looking to past games for what worked and what didn't when they're working on Starfield. NFTs, the new buzzword going around in the gaming industry. For those of you who don't fully understand what they are or how they relate to us gamers, the short story is that it doesn't matter to us, it's not good for gaming, and it's just another monetization scheme for some of these companies to make a quick buck, or $1 million if companies like Square Enix and Konami had their way. When it comes to gaming, NFTs are ways that developers are trying to offer unique items to players that can then be bought and sold for real money, of course, with the developer getting their own cut. The major issue, aside from having a massive environmental impact, is that NFTs offer nothing through games that hasn't been offered before as a free feature. NFTs are not for gamers, period. No matter how Ubisoft or publisher executives try to make it seem like it is. After the backlash we've seen from NFT announcements in general, and the likes of Stalker 2, which is an Xbox launch exclusive similar to Starfield, pulling NFTs from their game, I remain hopeful that this shady monetization practice will not be a part of Starfield. Companies like Square Enix have admitted in their own writing that players do not want these features, so if Bethesda tries to incorporate such a practice, it would be an ultimate middle finger to consumers, and one of the only things on this list that would cause me to outright never purchase the game. Don't do it, Bethesda. Ships and vehicle mechanics, a feature I know many in the community are hoping we will get to play in Starfield. The option to pilot your own ship through the cosmos, and a feature I constantly find myself questioning, would Bethesda actually do it? With Todd Howard specifically stating that space travel is meant to feel dangerous, but it had to be gamified, it makes me wonder whether he means the rules for travel in the lore of the game are gamified, or the flight mechanics themselves that we will be experiencing firsthand are gamified. I may be very well in the minority here, but pilotable vehicles is one thing that I'm not sure is necessary for a Bethesda game, especially one that is putting a much larger focus on its RPG roots. While a pilotable ship would be something that pushes Bethesda games in a new and potentially really exciting direction, the thought of all of the development time it would take to get those systems to work, and more importantly for those systems to feel fun and rewarding and not a nuisance or just sort of a gimmick within the context of the game. It makes me question if that time would be better spent focusing on creating stronger RPG mechanics, creating more dungeons to explore, creating more unique quests to embark on, and so on. After all, Skyrim, which is considered to be one of the top RPGs of the decade, didn't receive that title because we were able to sail a ship around Tamriel. Bethesda's games, historically incredible, multiple Game of the Year winners, have never needed to incorporate vehicles to mark themselves as incredible titles, and I see no reason why Starfield would need to change that. Of course it would be cool and an immersive feature, but it is one I can't help but feel would take away from the much needed time improving, innovating, and possibly perfecting the things that Bethesda fans love about their games. Pilotable vehicles never being one of them. What would ruin Starfield for you? Let me know down in the comments section. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. So long, everybody.